World Council of Credit Unions Economic Inclusion Project is a USAID-funded activity that has worked with credit unions and other stakeholders in Peru and Ecuador to develop and implement multiple digital solutions to provide Venezuelan migrants and vulnerable local residents with access to formal financial services, employment training, and entrepreneurial opportunities. This virtual event will feature descriptions of those digital solutions and how they have changed the lives of thousands of people who have been able to use them to save money, obtain credit, and even open their own businesses. The webinar today is going to feature presentations from Diana Londoño, Technical Director for World Council's Economic Inclusion Project, Alina Carmona, Senior Manager of Inclusive Impact and Sustainability for Visa in Latin America and the Caribbean, and Amparo Nalvarte Garcia, CEO and co-founder of B89, a fintech based in Peru. If you have any questions that come into your mind as you listen to today's webinar, please feel free to use the Q&A button that is also at the bottom of your screen. Type your questions in there. We'll be asking those questions of today's panelists as time allows. And also, this presentation is being recorded and it will be available later today on the World Council YouTube channel. I'll now turn things over to Diana Londoño, Technical Director for our Economic Inclusion Project in Peru and Ecuador, who has today's first presentation on some of the digital tools the project developed that focus on entrepreneurship and financial education with a perspective on gender. Diana?
Sí, muy buenas tardes para todos y para todas. Muchas gracias.
Yes, good afternoon to one and all. Thank you very much, Greg. I would like to benefit from today's session and share what we have developed in the Economic Inclusion Project to reach thousands of individuals in Peru and Ecuador, both local individuals, migrants, and Venezuelan populations. The idea is to impact their economical development, and for this reason, we have developed entrepreneurship and employability aspects, means of life or livelihoods, as well as a financial inclusion aspect. Our work includes a cross-cutting approach, which is both focused on financial education and, of course, gender-based actions. What we mostly want to highlight is the fact that we have more than 50 strategic allies or partners in several countries with which we have developed a series of strategies. The entrepreneurship, as you may see, is basically by transferring methodologies and installing capacities amongst our strategic stakeholders. So from their schools or their entrepreneurship schools, they may attend to the parties that require a sustainable livelihood. For this reason, we develop training sessions, business plans, education, and now I would like to emphasize where we have mostly developed certain digital tools that have helped us in improving the project scope. Business plans is an aspect that I will share about. I will share information on the tools used as well as financing, very important for an entrepreneur, so they may have access to working capital. At the same time, parties go through an accompaniment process and then they're connected with the market. In other words, we generate scenarios in which entrepreneurs have the possibility of trading or of promoting their products. And for this reason, we developed a series of digital tools. In reference to employability, it's practically the same approach, the same process where we focus on the population. We develop a professional enabling action, which is especially focused on the Venezuelan migrant population, vulnerable population, especially from Venezuela, where they need to renovate the professional titles so they may exercise the profession that they were educated for. At the same time, there is a skills strengthening process, digital version as well, accompaniment or support, and of course, commitment from the private sector, from different companies, because in the end, they are the ones that employ. At the same time, we have a labor or work insertion process where we have developed digital tools as well. Financial inclusion is our main tool of action. And for WOCCU, this has been the main approach. We understand that an entrepreneurship is not sustainable in time without access to sustainable services, formal and adequate financial services. The case for employability seems obvious. Everyone knows how important it is for us to have access to formal financial services. However, when you are in when you have migrated or you are in a vulnerable situation, you don't have access, not even to a savings account. This will obviously become a gap in order for you to receive or for you to have access to formal financial services or employment. For this reason, it's so important for us to focus on financial inclusion. And for this reason, we develop different strategies such as accompaniment on the offer and demand side so they may work closely. And in the end, everyone has access to adequate financial services. For this reason, we work with credit unions in Ecuador and Peru, working hand in hand with different credit unions in both countries, but especially in Peru, we work with FENACREP. We also work with diverse financial institutions such as banks, microfinancing institution, municipal backed banks, and of course, fintechs. And here we have one of the experiences with B89. We work with all parties that are part of the entrepreneurship and employability program, which in the end generates access to financial services. The fact that they have a savings account, the fact that they can pay for their credit, and the fact that they have certain assurance in case of any situation. At the same time, we generate spaces in which financial institutions can offer products to the population that before they had no access to. In this case, those that are beneficiary to the processes may have suffered gender-based violence. And if it is the case, the root starts a bit before. First, we focus on the psychosocial, emotional support, and eventually we move on to the economic inclusion section that we addressed previously. It is clear for us that a gender-based violence victim needs to develop economic autonomy so they may sustain and stand out of the violence cycle. We have proven that if someone depends on another person economically, it's most likely they will suffer or they will be victims to gender-based violence. Now, I will move on very quickly through the tools that I recently mentioned, but mostly I just want to share we have reached more than 100,000 individuals and more than 12,000 graduates from the employability and entrepreneurship programs. In other words, these are quite satisfactory results in reference to sustainability. In other words, these are businesses that have sustained in time, they are growing, and even considering the political crises in both countries and also considering the pandemic, we've proven that with the approach provided by digital tools and throughout the accompanying processes, we can improve people's lives. Allow me a moment, please. Allow me a moment. I need to stop sharing my screen. I can't switch slides. 1 second, please.
And Diana, please let us know if you need us to do that from here.
Ahora están viendo que la muevo. Ya. Muchísimas gracias. Sí, sí logré.
Yes, I was able to. Thank you very much. As I was stating, financial education is our route map. In other words, we understand that if someone adequately uses or manages their financial reality, they will be more successful. For this reason, we developed a platform called I Decide My Future and My Finances. It's a
funciona de
modular
manera
web-based
sincrónica y cuenta
platform
con
that
cursos
works in an
interactivos,
asynchronic
videos,
form
juegos,
with
imágenes
interactive
que
content,
permiten que las
videos,
personas
images,
puedan
games,
trabajar
and basically it
en los
allows
tiempos
people
libres
to
cuando
work
sea posible
in their
para
free
ellos
time
y obtener
whenever it's
este
possible
curso
for
de
them,
educación
and at the
financiera.
same time
Está
go through this
dispuesta para
financial
para
education
nuestros
course.
50
It's
aliados
available
estratégicos,
for
pero
our more than
directamente a
50
través de ellos
strategic
son
partners,
miles de personas las
but
que
directly
ya se
through
están
them, we are
beneficiando de esta
currently
plataforma. Tiene la
assisting
posibilidad de ser
thousands of
contextualizada
individuals
y
through the
adecuada
platform.
de acuerdo a
It
las
has the
necesidades
possibility
de las
of adaptation
organizaciones. Por
according
eso,
to
tanto
the
una entidad
organization's needs. In other
financiera
words, we may
de cualquier
personalize it
tipo
or
o
characterize it
una
according to their
organización
needs,
que
whether
trabaje
it's a
temas de
financial
emprendimiento, de
institution
empleabilidad y
or
de
an
género,
organization that
puede adaptar
focuses
esta
on
herramienta
employability,
a
entrepreneurship, or
su
gender. The idea
plataforma y
is that
hacer
they
que
can
sus
use the
usuarios lo
tool,
usen. Así
adapt it
podemos
to their
llegar
platform,
a mayor
and grant
escala.
access to their users,
Ahora, en el
granting
mismo
greater
tema de
scalability.
inclusión financiera,
Now,
aquí ustedes
considering
están viendo
financial
algunas imágenes
inclusion,
de
here
uno de
are
los
some
créditos digital
images
que
of
hemos
one of the
desarrollado. Este caso
of the
específico
digital
es de la
credits we
Cooperativa de
have
Ahorro y
developed so
Crédito
far.
Finansol,
It is
pero
part
también con
a
FENACREP, la
specific
Federación
example of
Nacional de Cooperativas de
Financial
Ahorro y
Credit
Crédito en el
Union
Perú,
and
se ha
FENACREP in
desarrollado
Peru.
un crédito digital para que
They
ella pueda
we have
transferir a
developed
las
a
diferentes
digital credit for
cooperativas
them
y
to transfer
se
to different
han
credit unions and at
logrado
the same time
adecuar de acuerdo a los score de
adjust
cada una de las
according
cooperativas.
to
Una
the
de esas
scores
experiencias
of each credit
del
union.
crédito digital nos la va a compartir
One of
ahora
the experiences
Amparo
related to digital
a
credit
través de
will
la
be
fintech.
referred
Pero lo
by
importante
Amparo through
aquí
the
es que
fintech
desde el proyecto se
information.
ha
But
comprobado que
what's
desde
mostly
un
important is the fact that from the
banco, pasando por
project, it
cooperativas,
has been
por
proven that through a
microfinancieras como
bank,
fintech, la
through
digitalización de los productos
credit unions,
financieros
through
le permite a las
microfinance
organizaciones
institutions,
ser
through
más
fintechs,
ágiles,
the fact that
hacerlo de una
organizations are
manera
more
mucho más
digitalized makes
rápido
them
y
more
que el
agile,
contexto de
faster,
pandemia
and
fue una
considering the
solución
pandemic context,
real
it
para las
became a
diferentes
realistic solution
organizaciones, pero
for diverse
para las
organizations.
necesidades de
But
las
at the
personas
same time,
que sin
it was
contacto
according to
físico
their needs. In
podrían
other words,
acceder
if it was related to
al crédito
no
digital
physical
y ser
contact,
evaluado
they still
mucho
had
más
access
rápido.
to credit,
Entonces,
digital
es
credit.
mucho
And of
más
course,
fácil para
this
la
was
entidad
processed
y
in a
mucho más fácil
faster form,
para la
making it easier
población
for both
que
the
recibe
institution as well as for the
este
population that
tipo
receives
de
this type
productos
of
digitales.
products, digital products.
Otro tema aquí interesante tiene que ver con el corresponsal. El
Another
corresponsal,
interesting
los
topic is
corresponsales
related to
son esas
the different
soluciones
correspondence.
rápidas
In
que
other
puede dar
words,
una entidad financiera
fast
a la
solutions
población,
provided by a
sin
financial
necesidad de
institution
una
to its
oficina
population. In other words,
física de ladrillo y
without
cemento,
having a
sino que a
physical
través, por ejemplo,
office,
de las
a
tiendas, de las
cement
bodegas,
office.
de
Instead of
esos
working through
espacios
them,
que
actually work
están
through
muy allegados
stores,
a la
through
población, se
warehouses,
pueden acceder a
through
servicios
shops, spaces that are
financieros.
really close to the population and at the
Aquí el
same
tema
time
de
grant access to
digitalizarlo es que
financial
es a través de una app,
services,
el
providing digital
corresponsal, la
access to
persona
these services,
que
in other words, through an
actúa como
AVP or
corresponsal,
through a correspondent,
tiene una
whether
aplicación en
it's
su
a
celular, en
person,
su
a
tableta,
location,
que le
basically they
permite
use an app
desarrollar las
in their
diferentes
cell phone,
transacciones.
in their
Entonces,
tablet, and in
tenemos
this way they
aquí
can carry out
algunos de
diverse
los beneficios
transactions.
pues, para la
Here
entidad.
you
Por
may have
supuesto,
here you can
permite
see
llegar a
certain of the
zonas
benefits. Of
distintas con
course,
bajo
it
nivel de
allows
inclusión
greater access to
financiera,
diverse
atender a
locations
mayor número de
with
personas,
greater
tener
financial
puntos de
inclusion, and
pago,
it provides
digamos, mucho
access
más
to greater
diversificados,
populations, greater
y
diversity,
tiene un impacto total en
and
la
its impact
estrategia comercial.
is
Hemos visto cómo
tremendous in the
desarrollar
commercial strategies. In other
corresponsales
words,
cercanos a
we
oficinas
have developed
permiten que
different
ya no
we
hayan
have
filas
seen
en las
how different
oficinas y le
correspondents
permite a la
develop around
gente
different
hacer
offices, and of
mucho
course this
más
eliminates
útil
or
pues
decreases
el tiempo, ¿no? Entonces
waiting
se convierte en
lines,
una estrategia
helping
comercial
everyone to use
que
their
le permite a
time
la
more
entidad
efficiently.
financiera
In other
de
words, it
reducir
becomes a
sus niveles
strategic
de cartera
tool
morosa,
allowing the
tener
financial
la
institution
mayor
to
posibilidad de
reduce
hacer
their
mayor número de
outstanding
captaciones,
accounts, probably
y todo pues con el
increasing
control y
their
la seguridad que
payments
se necesita por
received,
los entes de
and of
supervisión.
course,
Para
following
el
the different
comercio, es
controls
decir,
needed
para el
by
que
the different
ejerce como
authorities.
corresponsal, tiene una
For the
posibilidad de
business,
exponer mejor
that provides
a los
services as a
clientes,
correspondent
puede,
basically provides
además
greater positioning
de
before
hacer
their
específicamente las
customers.
transacciones para la
Aside
entidad
from conducting
financiera,
the
está
transactions
vendiendo al
directly
mismo
for the
tiempo sus
financial
productos,
institution,
así
they
que
are
esto lo
also selling their
posiciona
products at the same
mejor en el
time.
mercado, le
And of
permite
course, this
diversificar su
provides a
negocio
greater
y
positioning
tiene,
in the
por
market.
supuesto,
It
un
allows them to diversify their
acompañamiento
business.
desde nuestro
And of course,
modelo.
they
Las
receive
entidades
accompaniment and
financieras que
training sessions
desarrollan
following our
estos
model. Of
corresponsales,
course, any financial
les
institution that
enseñamos a que
develops these correspondent
acompañen al
models, we
comerciante
assist
para
them
que
and we
mejore sus ventas, les
assist them in
transferimos, por
supporting
supuesto,
their
educación
correspondent by
financiera y
improving
hacemos que, digamos que
their
todo
financial
este
inclusion education.
cruce sea muy
And
bueno,
this
tanto
entire
para la entidad
travesty
como
or exchange
para
becomes
el
profitable for both for the
corresponsal.
entity,
Y
for
para
the
el cliente,
correspondent,
para el
and
socio
for
de
the
las
customer, of
cooperativas,
course, for
pues
the
reduce los
partners
costos de
to credit
transacción,
unions.
facilita los pagos
It
el
reduces
día y
their
las fechas
transaction
pactadas,
costs.
reduce
It
los tiempos de las
facilitates payments
operaciones,
in
facilita el
assigned dates
depósito
and times. It
y el ahorro
facilitates
para el tema de
savings,
metodologías, me parece que ya
deposits.
les
It
cuento un poquito,
reduces
también es mucho más
operations and
fácil
times,
y
and
las
the
transacciones son
transactions are safer
seguras y
and
fáciles.
easy.
Este es otro ejemplo de la digitalización de
Another
los
example
productos y tiene
related
que ver con el
to
modelo de servicios financieros en
products,
campo más
to
usados para
digital
la
products,
periferia, para la
which
zona
are
rural
basically
y
related
para las
to
afueras de las grandes ciudades,
models
porque permite a las entidades financieras
used
trabajar a partir,
around the peripheral
desarrollando
areas
grupos,
of
haciendo
cities.
educación
In other
financiera
words,
a
it
través de un
allows us to develop
asesor
different models
financiero
by
que
groups,
tenga un
assigning
aplicativo
a rural
igualmente que en el
financial
corresponsal,
consultant, the
en su
same as
celular o en una
the
tableta, que le permita
correspondent's role, where they
desarrollar
have an app in their cell
diferentes
phone or
transacciones.
tablet,
Entonces
and in
aquí
this way
la
they can carry out
tecnología
different
es
transactions. In
súper
other words,
importante porque esta
technology is
metodología
crucial
hace que le
since this
facilita al asesor que
methodology
lleven un canal, que se
facilitates
vuelva en sí
the
mismo un
consultant
canal de
and it makes
atención para
them
las zonas
a
rurales
channel, an
y
attention
periurbanas.
channel
En el caso de
for
emprendimiento
rural and
específicamente, hemos
peri-urban
desarrollado
locations.
esta
For
metodología,
entrepreneurship,
herramienta
we have
operativa de
developed this
planificación
new
empresarial
methodology, which
que
is
le
the
permite
business
a los emprendedores
methodology,
desarrollar, organizar la información
business
de su
planning
plan de negocio de
operational
una
tool.
manera ágil,
Basically, it
dinámica,
allows them to develop their
interactiva,
business
y
plan
esto
in
es
a
muy bueno para los
interactive,
emprendedores,
agile form.
porque y para
Very
las
good for
entidades financieras
entrepreneurs and
también,
for
porque pueden
financial entities, of
identificar
course,
cuál es el plan
since
de
it allows
negocio
them
y
to
le permite
identify their
acceder a
business plan,
financiamiento de una
and at
manera
the
mucho
same
más
time it
fácil.
grants access
Para
to
las entidades
financing
financieras es
in
mucho
a
más
much
fácil
easier form.
reconocer en qué
For
etapa
financial institutions, it's easier
del
for them to
proceso se encuentra
recognize in
el
which
emprendedor
stage of the
y que la plata va a
process
ser
is the
invertida
entrepreneur
específicamente
at,
en su
and the
emprendimiento.
fact that the money
Trabaja
will
a
be
partir del
implemented
modelo
in their
Canvas, también
entrepreneurship
es
directly
modular y es
through
muy
their
interactiva.
Canvas
Se puede
model, which
ayudar
is
a
also
mejorar
a
los
modular
programas de
option.
emprendimiento,
Very
pueden ayudar a
interactive.
mejorar
It
los
helps
planes
to
de
improve
negocio de los
interactive
emprendedores
plans. It
utilizando
helps you
esta
improve your
plataforma. En la
entrepreneurship's
misma vía de temas de
actions by
emprendimiento
using these
desarrollamos Lo
platforms. At the
Tengo,
same time,
que es
we
un
develop Lo Tengo,
marketplace que
which
no es
is a
únicamente una
marketplace,
vitrina,
not
sino que le
just
permite a las personas
a
hacer las
showcase. On the
compras
other
porque
hand,
tiene
it
un
allows them
botón de pago.
to
Así
carry out
que
the purchase
es
directly, since it does
fundamental
have a
porque
payment
en temas de
option or
emprendimiento lo
button.
difícil para los emprendedores
Fundamental,
cuando ya
considering
tienen mejor
for
instaurado su negocio
entrepreneurs,
es
it's very
ahora cómo
difficult for
comercializo mis
entrepreneurs
productos.
once
Así
they
que
have
esta se
their
ha
business
constituido en una
set,
herramienta
they
bien
wonder how
interesante
are
que
they
permite
going
que
to
va a permitir que miles de
market their
emprendedores que no
products.
tenían,
It
no tienen un
becomes a
espacio
very
físico para
interesting
vender, lo
tool that
hagan por acá.
allows several
Y esto viene de
entrepreneurs
la
that did
mano
not
de
have a
OnMap.
physical space
OnMap
to
es el
carry out
delivery que también se ha
actions
desarrollado
through
en
these
el marco
tools.
del
Now,
proyecto
the OnMap
para que las
is
personas
a
puedan
delivery service
enviar,
app
los
that
emprendedores
allows
puedan
entrepreneurs
enviar sus
to
productos
send
a
their
sus
products
compradores y esto funciona a través
to
de
their
una
purchasers, of
aplicación, ¿no?
course, and this is through a specific app,
En el
once
tema
again.
de empleabilidad,
On
específicamente hemos
employability,
desarrollado y
we
fortalecido
have
algunas
specifically
plataformas. Esta
developed
que
and
ustedes están
strengthened
viendo acá es
certain
la única
platforms.
plataforma de
The
empleabilidad
one you see
especializada del
here
sector
is the
financiero
only
solidario. La hemos desarrollado con
specialized
FENACREP, la Federación de las
employability
Cooperativas acá en el Perú,
platform
y
developed
propone
within
una
the
rápida
Solidarity
inserción
financial
laboral, además de
sector,
ofrecer
developed
un
with
monitoreo
FENATREP,
continuo sobre
and
el
it
avance de las
allows us to
postulaciones.
carry out a
Así que
continuous
permite
monitoring
conectar
on
nuevamente la oferta y
the
la
different
demanda
offers. It allows us to connect offer and demand directly, and at the same time, it allows us to carry out a training process. For migrants, they may have several qualities, so they may join the labor market. However, we need to carry out a contextualization process. This works very well for us, and now FENACREP connects demand or those that are seeking for employment. It connects them with offers, not just within credit unions, but also with other microfinancing institutions. At the same time, we are working with two platforms, valiosos.org and capaces.pe, two Venezuelan organizations in El Peru, Veniactiva and valiosos.org, platforms which we have assisted in developing their courses, increasing their scope, and in this way connect with more entrepreneurs that are seeking for their talent. At the same time, we develop virtual courses with them, sort of obligated to do so considering the pandemic context, since everything that we did before in person, we had to transfer to a virtual version. We have virtualized our content, and once again, this basically has to do with inclusiveness. In other words, every video in this platform or every video part of the courses is supported by ASL interpreter, since we of course need to attend to the population with specific needs in reference to employability and entrepreneurship. With this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I did not go over my time for too much, but that is the experience related to economic inclusion for the implementation of digital tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. Yeah, don't worry about the time. We'll make it up at the end, but really interesting stuff. And we've been just excited here. I can tell you at World Council headquarters to see the development of these tools like Yodecido, like Hope. So it's great that we can kind of share that with an international audience like we have today. The Economic Inclusion Project has also done a lot of work with Visa to bring digital services to the beneficiaries they served. We're now joined by Alina Carmona, Senior Manager of Inclusive Impact and Sustainability for Visa in Latin America and the Caribbean. She's going to talk a little bit about the development of the ENCO business app. Alina, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Greg. Muchas gracias a todos. Buenas tardes. Un gusto estar el día de hoy aquí. Buenos días y buenas tardes, buenas noches.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I see we have participants located from participants logging in from diverse locations in the world. For this reason, I would like to refer the different tools developed by Visa focused on financial inclusion. And as you may know, Visa is a technology-based company focused on digital payments. Since several years ago, we understood that providing access to either large companies or micro businesses, the fact that we grant access to technological tools and in this way improve the payments ecosystem is not sufficient if it's not supported by education, skills development, and capacities that will allow them to truly benefit from these type of tools. For this reason, in Visa, we develop different educational platforms and programs. The idea is basically to develop possibilities for personal finances management. One of them is ECO, a platform created in Visa 5 years ago in collaboration with a partner called Fundes. 5 years ago, before the pandemic, it became a quite innovative project, even ahead of its time. At that given point in time, the platform seeked to digitally access all micro and small businesses that throughout the years, we identified that whenever we spoke about training sessions or skills development or courses, several of the business owners would answer, I don't have time and I don't have money. to leave my
capacitarme y no tengo
business and
dinero
go
para
to a
pagar
training
cursos
session,
que
and
me
I don't have
permitan
money to
desarrollar
pay for
esas capacidades.
courses.
Aquí yo tengo que
So
ser el
I
de
may
negocios,
develop
yo
the
soy quien la
skills
tiene,
because
yo
I
soy quien
have to
tiene que
be in
estar
the
ahí full
business. I
time.
am the one that needs to
Derivado
attend to
de
the
esto
business
es que
full time.
creamos esta plataforma
For this reason, we
que
created a
evidentemente durante el
platform
periodo de la
that
pandemia, pues bueno,
evidently
fue un
during the
asset que
pandemic,
permitió poder llegar
it
a esos
was
miles y
a
millones
link that allowed us
de
to access the
empresarios a lo
thousand of
largo de Latinoamérica
micro
y que hoy
entrepreneurs
día
and
ya es
small
muy
businesses throughout
común,
Latin
¿no? El tener
America.
acceso a
Very
este tipo
common to
de
see this
plataformas.
now
ENCO como tal tiene
today.
un total de 35 cursos dentro
ENCO
de esta plataforma.
includes
Existe tanto en
35
versión
courses
web
in
como en
its
versión
platform. The
aplicación, que
platform
puede
is
ser
available
descargable
in
tanto en la
website
tienda de
version as well
celulares
as
Android
in an app
como
where you
iOS.
may
Y
download it
estos
both from
cursos
the
están
iOS store
divididos
or from the App
o
Store.
categorizados en
The
cinco
digital
secciones:
courses are
ventas,
categorized in 5
mercadotecnia,
sections:
finanzas,
sales,
administración y desarrollo
marketing,
personal.
finances,
Este
business
contenido lo
administration,
desarrollamos
and personal
a partir
development.
del conocimiento y de mucha
The
investigación para
content
entender
was
cuáles eran
developed
esas
based on
necesidades de los
specific
dueños de micro y
knowledge,
pequeños negocios
investigations,
para
and
Latinoamérica y
research trying to attend to
específicamente
the
pensando
specific
en aquellos
needs
que están en la
of
base de la
small,
pirámide.
micro,
Es decir,
small, and
en
medium
donde
business
mucho de lo
owners.
que
In
aprendimos
other
es que lo
words,
que ellos buscaban era
several of the
contenido que
lessons were
realmente
related to the
fuera
fact that they are
práctico,
seeking
que
for
pudieran
content that
ellos
is
tomar los
truly
cursos desde
practical
su
in
negocio, que
order for
pudieran
them to
acceder
take the
desde su
courses
teléfono
from their
móvil y en
businesses,
donde no
even
necesariamente el
access from their
teléfono móvil
mobile
que puede
devices,
tener el dueño de
instead
un
of it being a
micronegocio
mobile
desde base de
device
pirámide va a ser el
that
teléfono de
is
último modelo
going to be,
o
for
el
example, the
internet que pueda
last
tener, no
model
necesariamente va a
cell
ser el de la
phone or
mayor
the
calidad.
best internet,
Con base en ello fue que
understanding
fuimos
that they won't
desarrollando esta
necessarily have access to the
plataforma
best
en
internet
donde nos
nor to the
aseguramos
best
que
cell
la
phones.
experiencia de
Considering this, we
usuario
developed a
fuera
specific
adecuada,
platform where we
entendiendo
ensure
también que no
that users'
necesariamente
experience
el
is
nivel de
adequate. And of
digitalización era el
course,
más elevado.
understanding that their digital
Tratamos de
expertise was
asimilar
not
experiencias de
necessarily the
usuario
most
que fueran
elevated.
comunes
We assimilated and
para este
created
perfil,
users'
para este
experience that would
segmento,
be common
en
to the
donde
profile, to
tratamos
the
de
segment
copiar o de
specifically,
homologar la experiencia de
where we
usuario de
basically
Facebook, de
tried to
WhatsApp, de
copy
Netflix, que
or
sabemos que son herramientas que
more or
son
less
comúnmente utilizadas
follow the
y
the
que eso
presentation of apps
permitiría
such
para los
as
usuarios
Facebook, Netflix,
nuevos
and
que
so
cuando
on, so
llegaran a la
on.
plataforma, se
And this would
registraran a la
allow
misma,
new
tuvieran una
users to
mayor
register
facilidad
into the platform and at the same
en el
time
uso de
find
esta.
greater
Nos aseguramos
ease in
también, como
its
les
use.
mencionaba, que el
As
contenido
I
y el
stated
lenguaje fueran
before, we
visibles, que
ensured
la
that the
manera en que
content and the
nosotros
language was
vamos abordando los
visible and
conceptos
inclusive,
financieros o de
simple at the same
mercadotecnia
time.
fueran de
The
una
way we
manera
approach
sencilla
marketing
que
and financial
permitiera que ellos lo
concepts needs to
llevaran a
be
la
done
práctica
in
de
a
manera
simple
inmediata y
language
que
so
de
they
esta
can
manera ellos
implement it
empezaran a ver los
immediately,
resultados
and at the
en
same time
términos del crecimiento de
have
su
them
negocio, del incremento de sus
consider
ventas,
the results,
de la
the
mejora
outcomes as
en
they
la
see
relación
their
que pudieran tener
businesses
con sus
increase,
empleados,
grow,
entre otros
improve their
puntos,
business
para que
relationships,
realmente
improve
se
their
percibiera el valor que
or
la
staff
capacitación o el
relations.
desarrollo de habilidades
And
puede
basically,
tener en su negocio
it's
como
for
tal.
them to understand
Nos
the
aseguramos también de
benefit
que
their
este
business may
tuviera
obtain
una
by constant
metodología educativa
personal
adecuada para
development.
adultos, en donde
At the
los
same
cursos
time,
tienen
we
un
made
promedio de
sure
duración de
the
12 minutos.
methodology
Sabemos que el
was
tiempo que tenemos
adequate
de
for
atención
adults. In other words, we
enfocada,
understand that
focalizada
an
es muy
adult's
corto, y más
attention
hoy día en
span
donde
is
estamos
quite short,
acostumbrados en estar haciendo
especially
muchas cosas
today
a la
where
vez,
we
en
are
estar
used
atendiendo
to doing
varios
many
temas al
things at
mismo
the same
tiempo.
time or
Los
attending
cursos
to
como
several
tal tienen
topics at the same
juegos,
time.
tienen
The
descargables, tienen
courses
videos,
include
tienen
downloadables, it
infográficos, tiene
includes
texto,
videos,
tiene
games,
la posibilidad de
infographics, it
poder
includes
elegir si
text.
no queremos
In other
leer, no
words,
nos
you
gusta
have the
leer o no
possibility
sabemos
to
leer,
choose.
el
If
poder
you
ir
don't want to
eligiendo
read,
una
you don't
opción
like
en
to
donde
read, or you
cada una
don't
de las
like to,
secciones de
or you
cada
don't
uno de
know
los
how to
cursos
read, then
pueda
you
ser
can go
mediante
ahead and move
audio.
forth
Nos
in
permite
such a
también
way that
tener
each
acceso a una
course is
sección de
only through
premios,
audio.
los
It
cuales
also grants access
son
to
premios
prizes,
educativos que se
a
ganan a partir
prizes
de
section, educational
la
prizes
interacción
earned
que yo tengo con la
based
plataforma
on
de
the
ENCO. Es decir,
interaction
puedo
with
dar un
the
ejemplo. Si yo
platform. In
tomo
other
3
words, just to
cursos
give you an
completos,
example,
se me
if
desbloquea
I
un
take
premio
3
y
complete
ese premio me
courses, a
permite
prize will unlock,
acceder
and the
a un
prize
webinar
will allow
adicional.
me
O,
to access an
perdón, si
additional
termino
webinar,
un
for
módulo
example.
completo, por dar un
Or if I
ejemplo,
finish a
el de
complete
ventas,
module,
entonces
just to
se
give you an
desbloquea un
example, I
premio
finish the
que
sales
me da
module.
acceso a
That will
un curso
unlock a
adicional o a
prize,
una
which
herramienta
is access
descargable.
to an
Esta
additional tool
plataforma hoy día la
or for a
en
downloadable or
español,
to
y
another
hoy día
course.
ya tiene acceso a más de
The
15
platform
países en la
is
región de
available in
Latinoamérica.
Spanish today
Vale la
with
pena aquí
more than
mencionar que, como
15
Lisa, tenemos
countries from
algunos
Latin
assets también,
America
porque oí algunos comentarios que ponían
accessing
hace un
its
momento,
free
que
version.
los tenemos en algunos otros idiomas, inglés, francés,
They
entre
recently
otros,
asked
que
whether this was
también tienen
available in
mucho
other
foco
languages, in
hacia
French,
la educación
English, in
financiera y la
other
educación para la gestión
languages.
de negocios. En particular, hoy
And
día únicamente lo
particularly
tenemos en
today,
español.
I must say it's
Compartirles
only
aquí un poco
available
del
in
temario, como
Spanish.
mencionaba yo hace un momento,
Now,
es
the
contenido que
topics or
además
the
tuvo una
content,
revisión
the
post
content
pandemia, en
was
donde entendimos
reviewed,
que las necesidades de los micro y
and
de los
we
negocios habían
basically
cambiado, se
focus
había
on micro businesses or
incrementado esta
small businesses
necesidad
needs, which
de tener
changed. In other
conocimientos del
words,
uso de la
there
tecnología
was an
derivado
increase
del
in
contexto que la
understanding the
pandemia
use and
nos
the
dejó.
implementation of
Como
technology
podrán ver en los
considering the
títulos,
pandemic's
son cursos que nos
context.
llevan totalmente a la
As you may
práctica, como
see,
ya
the titles
mencionaba. Un
are
ejemplo de ello
completely
es cómo usar Facebook e
practice-based.
Instagram en tu
Just to
negocio,
give you an
3 formas de
example,
incorporar
how
la
to use
tecnología a tu
Facebook,
negocio, cómo
how
vender
to
más, ¿no?
incorporate
Cómo innovar
technology
en
to your
tiempos de
business, how
crisis,
to
entre
sell
muchos
more,
otros
how to
cursos que, como
innovate
ya
in times of
mencionaba,
crises.
nos
In
permiten
other words,
que los negocios
different
puedan
courses
aplicar de
that
manera
allow
directa, los dueños de los
businesses to
negocios puedan
implement
aplicar de
them
manera directa ese
directly.
conocimiento y ver
It
los
allows them to
beneficios en un
implement the knowledge and the
corto
learned
periodo de
lessons
tiempo.
immediately
Y
and
bueno, compartirles que
receive
como
its
tal,
benefits
ENCO
in
lo
in a
hemos
very
ido
short period of
desarrollando
time.
en alianza
As
con
I
varias
stated before,
instituciones. Es
we
un
have
honor para
developed our
nosotros ser un
actions
aliado
in partnership with
estratégico del
different
World
institutions,
Council,
and
del
it is an
WOCCU,
honor
en
for
donde
us to be a
desarrollamos esta
strategic partner to
plataforma
the World Council, WOCCU,
específicamente para
where we
Perú
have
y
developed the
Ecuador,
platform specifically for
enfocada
Peru
a
and
personas
for
migrantes, a
Ecuador,
personas
focused
venezolanas
on
migrantes
Venezuelan
que
migrant
tenían estas
populations,
necesidades de poder desarrollar habilidades
populations
porque
with
el contexto
specific
los llevó
needs
a
in skills
emprender, a iniciar un
development.
negocio o a
Their
buscar otras
context
maneras de generar
drove
ingresos.
them to
Este proyecto,
to
por ejemplo,
developing businesses, to
fue
looking for different
insertado, o el
business
uso de la
ideas,
plataforma de ENCO
entrepreneuring,
fue
or
insertado como parte
even
de una
seeking
iniciativa
for
más
employment.
amplia liderada
This
por
project was
WOCCU
part
en
of
alianza con
an ample
USAID, que
initiative
nos
led
ha
by
permitido llegar a
WOCCU
miles
in
de
partnership with
venezolanos, a
USAID,
miles de
and at the
emprendedores en
same
Perú y
time we
Ecuador,
have
como ya mencionaba,
assisted
con el
thousands
objetivo
of
de poder
Venezuelan
ayudar en la
migrants in
mejora de la
Peru and
calidad
in
de vida de
Ecuador.
estas personas.
The
ENCO como
objective
tal
was
es de
to
acceso
improve
libre
their quality
para
of
cualquier
life.
persona que se
ECO
registra.
is free,
Tiene
ENCO is
en
free
esta
to
versión de
access, no cost
enco.org
whatsoever.
acceso a 15
There's
cursos,
a
y cuando
website
desarrollamos alianzas con
which grants
instituciones
access to
particulares, como el
15
caso que les menciono
courses.
ahora
And
con
whenever we
WOCCU,
develop
damos un
partnerships with
acceso a un
specific
total de
institutions, like is the
35
case
cursos.
for WOCU,
Entonces,
then we
pues
grant
bueno,
access to
feliz de la vida de
35
que nos hayan
courses.
invitado, de poder
Very
compartir esta
happy to
información con
join today's
ustedes,
session.
deseando que esta
Very happy to
plataforma
share this
sea de
information with you.
utilidad. Y
And we
bueno, pues
hope this tool
Greg,
is
regreso la
of your
palabra
benefit. Greg, you
para
have the
continuar
floor.
con la
Thank you
siguiente
very
sesión.
much.
Thank you, Alina. I mean, ENCO is one of those as well that, you know, we've got the word out on that right away. Once that was rolled out, I think first in Ecuador and then in Peru, excuse me, because that was such a unique tool that gave just about anybody access to figure out how to be able to set up a business, how to grow a business as well. We have one more presenter today, and I know some of you have already submitted questions. We will get to those questions at the end of the webinar, so if you could just hang tight with us. But our final presenter today is Amparo Nalvarte Garcia, CEO and co-founder of B89. B89 is a fintech based in Peru that worked with EIP to help the project's beneficiaries access credit without a credit history right from their cell phones. Amparo, thank you so much for being here, and the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you everybody. Hola, muchas gracias a todos. Voy a compartir
Hi,
mi
thank
pantalla para
you.
poder contarles
Allow
un
me a
poco
moment to
aquí
share my
sobre
screen.
B89 y lo que hacemos con
I would like to share my
nuestros
screen and
programas.
who is and what is
A ver,
B89 and what we
nosotros
do
tenemos
with our
como un gran
programs.
propósito el crear
Our main
bienestar
purpose
financiero sin
is to
fronteras.
create
Y esto significa muchas cosas
financial
para nosotros porque
well-being,
está incluso el
borderless
nombre
financial well-being.
de B89, la B viene
As a
de
matter of fact,
bienestar
B89,
y
B
el
is for
89 es un año
well-being in
simbólico
Spanish,
porque
and
se
89 is a
derrumbó
symbolic year
bueno, cayó el
since
muro de Berlín y fue el nacimiento
the
del World Wide
Berlin
Web, del Internet.
Wall.
Entonces
It was the
es
end to the
cómo
Berlin
vamos
Wall, and it was
rompiendo fronteras y con el mundo
when
digital nos vamos
the World
acercando
Wide
más
Web
e
initiated,
interconectando
basically.
todo en
It's
general.
basically about breaking barriers,
Entonces ese
borders, and
es
interconnecting
el gran
everything in
propósito
general.
que
That's
tenemos.
basically the idea.
¿Quiénes somos? Somos
Our main
una
purpose
empresa,
and who we are.
miembro principal de la red de Visa, somos emisores
We
de tarjeta
are
Visa.
main partners to Visa.
También
We issue
regulatoriamente
Visa
estamos registrados
cards.
como una casa de
We are
préstamos
also
ante
registered
la
as a
SBS, la
loans
Superintendencia de Banca y Seguros.
institution
Y
before
bueno, somos,
SBS,
reportamos a la UIF, que es
and we
la entidad
report
de información
to
financiera,
UIF, which
donde
is the
vemos temas
financial
de lavado de
information
activos,
institution, where we
financiamiento del
consider aspects
terrorismo,
such as
etcétera, etcétera, ¿no? Todo
financing to
con
terrorism, money
con el
laundering,
debido
and
cumplimiento.
so on and so forth, always making
Tenemos
sure
como
we follow duly.
principales valores
Our main values to
nos
be
importa muchísimo la
inclusive
inclusión
in every
financiera,
every
y lo
action.
que
We're
buscamos es
very
crear productos
focused
que
on
den
financial
acceso a las
inclusion, and we
personas,
seek
¿no?
for
Por
products that
ejemplo,
grant access to individuals.
para algunas
Just to
personas
give you an
acceder a un seguro
example,
es súper
for
caro,
some individuals
con
to have
nosotros lo podemos
access
hacer
to an
mucho más,
insurance is
los precios, todo
very
es mucho más asequible, ¿no?
expensive.
Hay
For
personas que están
us or with
completamente fuera
us,
del
it's
sistema
more
financiero
accessible.
y nosotros
Other
buscamos traer
parties are
eso
completely outside of the
o
financial
acercarnos más a las personas
market.
independientemente de la
And the
nacionalidad que
idea
tengan.
is basically to bring them
Como segundo
closer
pilar es
independently of
que
their
somos directos.
nationality. The
Buscamos
second
siempre
pillar,
tener una relación
we are
transparente
direct.
con
We
nuestros
always
clientes,
seek
sin
for
cobrar
a
sorpresa, sin letra
transparent
chica,
connection or relationship
las
with our
cosas como son. Cuando hay tarifas, hay
customers
tarifas y las
without any
mencionamos en
type
todos lados
of,
para que después las personas no se sorprendan.
if there's a
Y
rate
las
to
condiciones
charge,
claras desde
we
el
announce
inicio.
it so no one is
Y tercer punto, y lo más
surprised.
importante, es que somos
And
100%
third, and most
digitales.
importantly, we
Nosotros
are
somos una empresa
100% digitally
que
based. In other
nacimos
words,
3 meses antes de
we are
entrar
a
en
company
pandemia,
that
en
was born
confinamiento,
3 months
y
before
desarrollamos un
the
producto
pandemic
desde
started,
nuestras
before
casas,
we were
lo
in
lanzamos al
lockdown.
mercado desde nuestras
We
casas,
initiated the product
crecimos de
from our
manera
homes.
digital.
We launched
Eso
it
nos
from
llevó
homes.
incluso a no tener
We
oficina
grew
física, no
digitally, and
tenemos
this even brought
sucursales,
forth the fact that
cualquier
we
cosa
don't
o
have
interacción que tenemos
physical
con nuestros clientes
offices, we don't
es a
have
través de nuestra
correspondence, any
aplicación
type of
móvil, y
interaction
eso
with
hace
our
que
customers
podamos
is
llegar a
through our
muchas más
digital app.
personas, a todos los
This
rincones
increases our
del Perú,
access, and
y
it helps
que
us
las personas
reach
puedan utilizar
every corner in Peru, and it
puedan
grants
utilizar
individuals
nuestros productos.
access to our products.
Entonces, ¿qué ofrecemos?
What do we offer?
Y acá les
What
voy
we
a
offer.
mostrar un videito que es nuestro
Allow me a
producto
moment
más
to share
importante
a
y
brief video,
el que más
which is
estamos promocionando
basically
el
the
día de hoy, que
most
se llama la
important
Crea
product for
Crédito,
us,
y
the
que de
one we're
hecho lo
mostly
trabajamos en conjunto
promoting
con Visa.
today,
A ver, aquí
which
está.
is called Acre Crédito.
B89 presenta
Work
la
with
tarjeta
Visa.
Crea Crédito Visa para
B89
quienes nunca
presents
han
Crea
tenido un
Crédito
producto de
Visa or
crédito o
Visa
quieren
Create
acceder
Credit.
a nuestra
If
tarjeta
you've
con
never had a
crédito.
credit
Esta
product or you
tarjeta
wish
te
to have
permitirá
access
construir tu
to our
perfil
credit
crediticio
cards,
con
this
B89
card
mientras
will
realizas
allow
tus
you to
compras.
develop
Disfrútala sin
a
cobros
credit history
escondidos, sin
B89 as
mantenimientos
you carry
y
out your
con cashback
purchases
en todas tus
without
compras.
maintenance costs
Usarla
nor
es
hidden
simple.
costs.
Paso 1.
Using it
Recarga
is
dinero
simple.
desde tu app con
Step 1.
cualquier tarjeta de
Recharge
débito.
your
Este
card
será el
from your
monto
app with
disponible
any
para tus
debit card.
compras. Paso
This
2.
is the
Usa tu
available amount
tarjeta
for your
física para
purchases.
compras
Step 2.
presenciales y tu
Use your
tarjeta
physical
virtual
card for
para compras
in-person
seguras por
purchases
internet. Paso
and your
3.
virtual card
Conviértela
for
en tu
safe
compañera de
internet
pagos.
purchases.
Y así
Step 3.
podremos
Make
evaluar
it
si
your
calificas
purchase
a nuestra
partner,
tarjeta con
and in this
crédito.
way
Descarga
we can
la app
assess if you qualify
B89.
for our credit
Pídela,
card.
úsala y crea.
B89. Ask for it,
B89.
use
El
it, and
bienestar
create credit.
financiero que mereces.
B89. The financial well-being you deserve.
Entonces, como habrán visto, tenemos el producto Crea Crédito.
As you may have
Está
seen,
enfocado más que nada
Crea
a las personas
Crédito
que nunca han
is a
tenido un producto
product
de crédito
mostly
en su vida,
focused
¿sí?
or addressed
Que van a
to
un banco, que quieren
individuals
buscar
that
una
have
tarjeta de
never had
crédito,
a
pero no
credit
necesariamente
history
tienen
in
cómo
their
demostrar
lives.
sus
They go to the
ingresos,
bank, they
no
have no
necesariamente
way
están
to
en
demonstrate
planilla,
their income,
pero
they're
tienen
not
ingresos, tienen
necessarily under a
liquidez, tienen
payroll,
movimientos.
but they have
Y esta es una
liquidity,
manera de
they
ayudarlos
mobilize
por un
funds.
periodo de 6
And
meses
this
que
is
dura
a
la
way to help
evaluación.
them for
Ustedes
a
van a poder
period of
recargar,
6 months,
consumir,
which is the
recargar,
time
consumir.
the
Nosotros vamos a
evaluation
entender su
lasts. They can
comportamiento, vamos a
recharge it,
entender esto de la
consume,
liquidez, los
recharge,
vamos a evaluar
consume.
y
This will
después
help
le
us
vamos a dar el
understand your
chance de que
liquidity.
puedan
We will
acceder a nuestro
assess it,
producto
and then we may
la
grant you the
89, que es una
access
tarjeta
to our
de
product,
crédito o
which
con
is
crédito. ¿Sí?
B89 credit card.
Entonces, ¿qué es la tarjeta
Now,
la 89?
what is
Es
the
una tarjeta de crédito o con
89
crédito como
card?
cualquier otra.
It is a
Empezamos con
credit card like
líneas
any other.
pequeñas, desde
We
200 a
start with
500
small
soles,
credit
y luego poco
lines
a poco en
from
base
200
al
to 500
comportamiento de la
soles.
persona vamos
And then little by
incrementando
little,
esa línea
based
de
on
crédito hasta
their
5,000 soles.
behaviors, we will go ahead and
Te
increase it
permitimos financiar
up to
las compras hasta en
5,000
36
soles.
cuotas.
It
Te
allows
brindamos tasas
us
súper
to finance
competitivas.
it. You're allowed to finance your
Nos hacen
purchases up
acá
to
la
36
comparación, por ejemplo,
quotas.
de las tarjetas clásicas
Here, I
de
notice a
los bancos
comparison with
tradicionales,
classic
mientras que ellos están alrededor del
cards from
120
traditional
de
banks.
la TCA,
That would
la
be that there are
TCGA.
somewhere around
Nosotros estamos
120
en
from TSA.
99%, ¿no? Es
We are
mucho más
around
bajo comparado
99%. In other words, quite low in comparison
a la de la
to
competencia, los
our
bancos tradicionales.
competitors, traditional
Y
banks,
algo en lo que nos
basically.
hemos enfocado muchísimo es que
Something we have
todo
focused
empieza
on
por la
greatly is the
simplicidad.
fact that
Mientras
everything
yo tenga un
starts with
orden mental
simplicity.
donde diga
As long
del
as I
primero al
keep a
último día
mental
del mes,
order
esto es todo lo que he
where I can
consumido, y de ahí
say,
el
this
mes
is the
siguiente
first
tengo
day of the month, this is the end of the month, this is all I have consumed. I have 10 days to pay for it.
mes, o sea, de
And
febrero,
basically, in these 10 days of the next month, February,
pagar el
I
total de
can
mi
pay
consumo,
the total
o
amount
puedo
of my
financiar y
consumption,
decir, mira, todo
or
lo que he consumido en enero, en febrero
I
lo voy
can
a dividir
finance it
en 5
and
cuotas,
say
en 6
everything I
cuotas.
consumed in
Y
February and
obviamente las
January, I will
tasas,
divide
que
it
son
in 5
anuales, se
quarters.
se
And of
llevan a
course,
mensuales y
the
la
annual
tasa es mucho menor, ¿no?
interest
Porque ya aplica el
rates
mes y
would
no la
be
del año.
taken to a monthly,
Entonces,
and it would be
hemos buscado
lower because it
simplicidad
will
por
be
ese
applied
lado para
at
que
a
las
monthly
personas
basis
puedan
instead of an annual basis,
crecer
of
con más
course.
información. Ahora, una
Different
vez
options,
ustedes ya
so
tienen la tarjeta con
individuals
crédito
receive
del
more
89,
information.
toda la
Once you
información que
have
se
the
genera de sus
B89 credit
pagos,
card,
si son buenos
then all the
pagadores o
information
no,
generated,
esta
whether
información
it's
va al
about your
sistema
payments,
financiero,
if you're a
va a
good
los buros de
payer or
crédito.
not,
¿Y eso
it
qué
will be
significa?
sent to
Que
the
otras
financial
entidades
system, to the
financieras
credit
pueden
bureaus.
ver que
This
ustedes
means
están
that
creando
other
una historia con
financial
nosotros,
institutions are
que ustedes
seeing
son
that
buenos
you
pagadores
are
y eso les
creating
va a
a
abrir las puertas
history
para
with
que
us, a
mañana
credit
más
history with
adelante,
us.
si
And
quieren
you
un
are good
crédito de
payers,
consumo
and
en
in
otra
case
institución
you want to
financiera, si quieren
obtain a
aplicar un
consumption credit in the
vehicular, a un
future from another
hipotecario,
financial
entre
institution,
otras
whether it's for a
cosas,
vehicle
pues
or a
puedan
mortgage,
hacerlo sin
whichever the
problema.
case it is, you should be able to do so without any problem.
No sé si siguen
Standing
viendo mi
by.
pantalla o se me
I hope you can
congeló
see my
el...
screen. Although
We
I
can
think
see
my
it.
screen froze.
You can see it? Ok. Ya, entonces, bueno, yo no veo que estoy presentando, pero aquí lo tengo, un segundito. Ya, entonces, ¿a quién está dirigido este producto? Nosotros estamos enfocados en
This product is
atender
for,
a la comunidad,
well,
a
basically,
la comunidad,
we
a la
are
comunidad local,
focused on
personas,
the
como ya
local
les decía, que no
community,
necesariamente tienen acceso al
individuals
producto,
that
a
don't
un producto de
necessarily have
crédito.
access to a credit
Se podría
product
decir que están en las periferias, que están en
or
provincias,
financial
que no tienen
services.
cómo
They're
demostrar
probably at
su
provinces
información,
or
pero
around the
que son
city,
buenos
not
pagadores y
necessarily being able to
tienen las
demonstrate their
ganas de poder
liquidity,
crecer
but
con este
still
tipo
good
de productos
payers.
y crecer en el mundo
And they
financiero.
are willing to
Eso por un
grow
lado de la
and looking
población local.
forward to growing
Ahora,
in their
como segundo
financial
punto, o como segundo
histories.
gran grupo a quien atendemos, es a la
The second
comunidad
group we
venezolana.
attend to, the
Nosotros hemos
Venezuelan
visto que acá
population.
la comunidad
We've
migrante
seen
es bastante
that
grande,
the
pero
migrant
sobre todo la
population is
venezolana. La
quite
comunidad venezolana,
large, but mostly
tenemos
from
alrededor de
Venezuela,
1.5 millones de venezolanos
around
aquí en Perú.
1.5
Lo que buscamos
million
es llevar
Venezuelans
también
in
acceso
Peru.
a estas personas, porque
We seek to
si
grant
bien es cierto,
access
en su
for
país
them, of
tenían
course. It
información,
is true, in their
tenían
countries, they had
créditos,
information,
tenían seguros,
they
tenían
had credit, they
una
had
infinidad de
insurance,
productos historiales y
an
todo, pues cuando
infinity of
llegaron a
products
Perú
and credit
no tenían
histories.
nada y
However,
empezaron
once they
completamente
reached
de cero.
Peru,
Entonces,
they had nothing
buscamos ser
inserted
nosotros esa
directly from
herramienta digital,
zero.
esa plataforma que les
Basically,
permite
we
igual
seek for digital
crear
tools and platforms
crear
allowing
este
them
historial
to
y poder
create
avanzar
their credit
financieramente
history
en
once
Perú, ya que es
again
aquí donde
and
están viviendo
advance
ahora.
in Peru financially, which is the location where they
Y
are
por
at
último,
this given
no
point
sé
in
si
time.
pasa mi presentación
And
porque ahí no
last
estoy
but
viendo
not
nada.
least,
Eh, temas de educación financiera. ¿Qué trabajamos con
financial
temas de educación financiera?
education.
Nosotros nos hemos preocupado mucho
We are
porque las
very
personas que
worried
acceden a un
and
producto de
concerned
crédito y que pasan
on
por la Credit
granting
Crédito, pues
education
puedan
for
venir
those that have
acompañados con
access to a
información
credit product.
que
They
finalmente les
should receive
permita
information
entender
in order
que el
for them
dinero es
to
una
finally
herramienta,
understand
¿sí? Es
that
una
money is
herramienta
a
que
tool.
se le puede dar un fin
It's
positivo
a
o un
tool
fin
that you
negativo.
may grant a
Nosotros,
positive
como lo
purpose to
vemos,
it
es,
or
en
a
primero
negative
es una herramienta y yo
purpose
le
to
puedo
it.
dar
The way we see it
el
is
beneficio que quiera
precisely
darle a mi
as I
dinero.
stated. The
El mundo ideal es que el
money
dinero trabaje para
is
mí
a
y que yo no
tool,
trabaje
and
para el
I
dinero,
can
¿no? Por supuesto,
provide
todos
the
queremos llegar a eso,
benefits
pero
I
tenemos
can
que
to my life with
entenderlo
it.
así. La
We
educación
want money to
financiera
work for us
viene
and not us
acompañado
for
de
the money,
temas
of
de
course.
mentalidad,
We need
pero
to
también viene
understand it in this
acompañado de
way.
temas
In other words,
más
financial education
tácticos
has to do with
o
mentality,
más
with
de
more tactical
conocimiento.
aspects as
Y
well,
para eso
or
nosotros hemos
about
buscado
general
alianzas
knowledge.
como la
And for
alianza
this
con
reason, we
WOCCU,
have partnered
que
with
nos ha hecho transferencia
organizations
igual de
or institutions
información, de
such as WOCCU,
contenido, de educación
who
financiera, y
have
eso es lo que
transferred
nosotros replicamos con nuestros
information,
clientes.
content, and
Lo
this is
mismo
what we apply with our
Con Visa es
customers.
nuestro partnership,
Same with
nuestro
Visa.
partner
Our
número
partners,
uno top, nos amamos todos.
our top number,
Y
our
con
number
ellos
one
trabajamos
partners,
también
and we work
este
with
programa que han
them
presentado, y también tenemos
precisely the
acceso al
program that I
contenido
recently
que ellos nos han
mentioned,
compartido para
and we
nosotros
also
poder
have
enseñar y
access to
tener
the
material que
content
podamos compartir
they
con nuestros
share.
clientes
Basically, it's
y
for
así
us
poder
to
llegar a
share
muchas
this
más
content
personas.
with our customers
Entonces,
and at the same time
temas de educación
reach
financiera no la
more
trabajamos solos, lo
individuals.
trabajamos con partnerships
Financial
y así buscamos llegar
education, we work with
mucha
partnerships, as I stated, And in
Entonces,
this way,
esa es,
we may reach
eso es
more
B89,
individuals.
esa es la
That is
iniciativa
B89
que de hecho ya la tenemos operando hace
initiative.
2-3
And
años.
as a matter of fact,
Buscamos llegar a
started
más
operating
personas,
about
crecer.
2 or 3
Luego
years
se vienen
ago.
todo lo que son pagos cross-border,
We
que
are
no
carrying out
necesariamente,
cross-border
una vez que tú ya
payments
tienes
as
el dinero en
well.
tu tarjeta B89,
You
puedes
have
enviar dinero a otros
the
países.
money
Eso es algo
in
que
your
estamos trabajando este
B89
año.
card.
A
You
la
should be
comunidad
able to
venezolana
send
le
this money
interesa
to other
muchísimo
countries. We're
porque
working
es
on
parte de lo
this.
que hacen en su día a día,
Since,
¿no?
for
Enviar
example, the
dinero
Venezuelan community
hacia
is
su
quite
país.
interesting. This is
Parte de
what
las
they do
posibilidades que
daily,
estamos
almost
trabajando el
send
día de
money
hoy
to their
para
countries.
poder ofrecer
And that is part of the options that we're
agrandar o seguir
offering
agrandando nuestra
today.
propuesta de
The
valor.
idea is to expand
Eso es.
our value
Muchísimas
proposal.
gracias.
That will
Y
be all.
quedo atenta a
Thank you
cualquier
very
pregunta.
much, and I remain attentive to your questions or comments. Over.
Thank you so much, Amparo, and great presentation. And I think obviously with the amount of Venezuelans migrants that there are in Peru and Ecuador, having that ability to not only get the credit but also be able to send that money back to Venezuela to their loved ones is such a great thing that you're able to help provide them with. We do have a couple of questions already, and I want to let everyone know that if you have any other questions, please do put them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Click on Q&A and you can write your questions in there. A couple questions for Diana Londoño first. We have one that says, greetings from Ecuador, Diana. Tools like I Have It, can they be extended to other countries? Like Ecuador, for instance, that's the
Muchas
question.
gracias, Greg. Sí, es la pregunta que hace Pietra. Un gusto, claro que sí.
Yes,
Nosotros
actually, it's a question
justamente
from
para
Pietra,
Ecuador
and precisely
tenemos
for
la
Ecuador,
posibilidad de
we do have
desarrollar
a
estos procesos en
possibility
el marco
of
del proyecto de
developing
inclusión
the
económica. Entonces,
processes
justamente
in the
ahora
economic
estamos en
inclusion
proceso de lanzamiento,
process.
vinculación de
Precisely, we're
emprendedores a la
about
plataforma. Lo
to
tengo, pero
launch it.
estamos identificando
I have it,
internamente
but
cuál es
we're
la
still
mejor
trying to
forma para trabajar con
identify
nuestros
the
aliados
best way to work with
estratégicos
our
en
strategic
Ecuador
partners
y
in
poder
Ecuador,
acercar a los
and at the
emprendedores
same time
a comercializar sus productos.
help
Así que sí,
entrepreneurs
y
their commercial
aprovecho, Greg, para
actions.
decirles que
So
ante
yes,
cualquier
working on this.
pregunta que
And
no
Greg,
podamos
I
contestar
just
aquí,
wanted
pero
to
que
include
he
that in case
visto que
there
hay
are any questions I'm not able to
algunas
answer
personas
now.
interesadas en ver
I
cómo se
see
pueden
there are
vincular
several
al proyecto
parties
o cómo pueden
interested in seeing how we
beneficiarse
can
a través
connect
de
the project
algunas
or how
de las
they
estrategias o de los
may
socios estratégicos
benefit
del
from some
proyecto.
of the
Oscar ha puesto el
partners
correo
or
electrónico
proposals.
mío de
Oscar just shared my
londono@woccu.org.
email
Por favor,
in
escríbanme y con mucho
Londoño.
gusto nos ponemos de acuerdo.
My email's in the chat box, and you can just send an email and we can agree.
Thank you. That's great, Deanna. We really appreciate you being.
@woccu.org.
We appreciate you being that accessible. Also, another question asking, what is the criteria for a cooperative that wants to participate in this project, in the Economic Inclusion Project?
Sí, vi también la pregunta.
Yes, I saw the question.
Trabajamos, lo que
Fundamentally,
estamos haciendo no lo podemos hacer solos, así que
what we are
siempre
doing, we
identificamos
cannot do this
en
alone.
nuestros
We are
contextos
always
cuáles son las
identifying
organizaciones que les
which are
interesa
the
atender
organizations that
el
are
mismo tipo de
interested
problemáticas que
in
nosotros estamos
attending to
atendiendo.
the
Nosotros
same
en
type
el
of
marco del
issues that
proyecto
we're
trabajamos
attending to.
con los objetivos que hemos
In our
identificado
project's
conjuntamente con
framework, we
USAID,
have
que es
basically
generar procesos de
addressed
inclusión
different
económica a la
objectives we are
población
currently
local
developing with
vulnerable y a
USAID,
la población
which is
migrante y
about
refugiada
generating
venezolana. Así que
products for the vulnerable
inicialmente
populations,
hicimos
for
una
the migrant
selección
population
de
as well.
entidades
For this reason, we
financieras, de
selected a series
cooperativas
of financial
con la
entities and credit
capacidad de
unions,
hacerlo, ¿no? De
and
seguir brindando
basically
estos
we
servicios
assess their
y con
capacity
una
in offering
voluntad
said
de
services.
atender este nicho
At
de
the same
mercado.
time,
Así que lo que
their
hacemos sencillamente
willingness
son
in attending to this
unas
market
conversaciones
niche.
iniciales para
Basically,
ponernos
we
de
carried
acuerdo y
out
ver
initial
conjuntamente,
conversations
digamos,
to
cuáles son
agree and
los
jointly determine
objetivos que
which are
podríamos
the
alcanzar
objectives that we may
conjuntamente.
reach
Así que para la
jointly
persona
and take
que hace
actions
esa pregunta, por
accordingly.
favor,
For the person
escríbame un correo
referring this
electrónico
question, I would
y
ask you
podemos
to please
conversar.
send me an email so we may speak about this
Gracias.
further. Over. Thank you.
Thanks. A question now for Amparo. B89 spoke about health insurance, and this question is about what insurance company, or maybe there are several, but what insurance company do you work with?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are about to launch an assistance program next month, and it's mostly related to health. Health as our battle horse, as to call it something. We have insurance for 5 soles, with medical assistance, with dental assistance. It increases by 3 soles if you receive legal assessment. If it's about vehicles, motorcycles, or even bicycles. And the third one is basically focused on unemployment. If at some given point in time someone loses their job, there's an unemployment insurance that will cover for them. It's a program that we intend to develop in a month, started in a month, over.
Thanks so much, Amparo. It doesn't look like there's any more questions in the queue right now, but again, anybody with who is seeking information about anything that they heard today can graciously, Diana has agreed to allow you to email her. And again, you can find her email in the chat, but it's dlondoño, Londono, at WOCCU.org. If anybody has any other comments, otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap things up. Actually, we just have another couple questions. Question for Alina Carmona coming in from Dr. Borhanyu asking, I understood that the ENCO platform focuses on training. How did you manage the financial inclusion other than the training? How did you manage the financial inclusion? Question for Alina.
Thank you, Greg. Para contestar la pregunta, me parece que es importante contextualizar
Thank you, Greg. To answer the question, I believe it would be
y
adequate to
el
provide
core
context
de
on
Visa.
Visa
Como saben, nosotros
solutions
somos
and
una
Visa's
empresa de
core business. As you know,
enfocado en
we are
soluciones
a
que
technology-based company
el-
focused on
los pagos y cobros
solutions
electrónicos.
that may
Y con base en ello es que
solutions to
nosotros,
carry out electronic payments.
les diría que
Based on
nunca
this,
tenemos una relación
directly,
ni
I
con
must
los
say
individuos,
that
ni
we
con los
never
mini y
have
pequeños
a
negocios.
direct relation
Todas
or
nuestras
connection with
relaciones y
individuals,
nuestro
nor with
acercamiento
small
a ellos es a
businesses or
través
large
de
businesses.
instituciones
Every
financieras,
way that we approach our
y hoy día otro tipo de
parties is
organizaciones
through
que no
financial
necesariamente son
institutions or
instituciones
fintechs
financieras,
or other
que son
type of
quienes pueden
institutions that are
tener
not
estos
necessarily
productos
financial institutions that
específicos
may
que pueden ser
offer these
acercados
specific products that
a
may be
esas
referred
comunidades o
and
esos grupos
that
que
can approach
tradicionalmente se han
the
quedado fuera
communities
del
and the groups
sector.
that have
La
been
manera en que
traditionally
Visa
left outside of the
contribuye
sector.
a esa parte
The way
de la
that
inclusión
Visa
financiera es a
contributes
través
to the financial
de poder
inclusion
poner estas
is
soluciones
precisely
que
by
sean a la
offering the
medida, estas
solutions
soluciones
mentioned.
dirigidas a
So
estas
they're
instituciones financieras, a
tailor-based
estas fintechs,
solutions,
para que ellos a su
considering the
vez sean
fintechs
quienes
and
lo
financial
pongan de manera
institutions.
directa a ese
In this way,
individuo o
they
ese
can
pequeño
offer it
negocio.
to their
Y voy a dar un
customers,
ejemplo
whether they're
para dar
individual or
un poco de esta
small
sensación de qué es
businesses.
lo que hacemos en Visa.
Just to give you an
Un
idea
sector que tradicionalmente ha
on
estado
what we
fuera
do in Visa,
del sistema
sector that
financiero
has been traditionally
es la
outside
agricultura,
of
¿no?
the
Los
financial
agricultores como tal,
inclusion or financial
micro, pequeños y
services
medianos.
are
Algo que ha
agriculture, is the
desarrollado
agricultural
Visa
sector,
es una
medium,
solución
small, medium, and
enfocada
large
en poder ayudar a las
producers.
instituciones
Visa
financieras
has
a
developed a
llevar
solution
productos
to help
financieros, en este
financial
caso la tarjeta
institutions
de
in delivering
crédito, por dar un
products, in this
ejemplo,
case,
que
credit cards, for
permita
example,
que se adecue a las
allowing
necesidades
access
de
and
esos
personalize
agricultores.
it
Y por dar
to
un ejemplo, este producto
farmers'
desarrollado por Visa o
needs.
estas
And
soluciones
just to give you an
tecnológicas
example,
que
this
le
is
damos a los
the
bancos y
top
a las instituciones
technological
para que a su
solution that
vez
we're
ellos
providing to
lo
different
lleven
banks
los
in
individuos,
such a way that then
lo que
banks can
permite es
provide
que
it
en
to
lugar de
individuals.
como cualquier
And
tarjeta
this
tradicional
allows
en
that
donde
in
nosotros
case of
tenemos un
any
corte mensual
traditional
y tenemos
credit
que
card,
pagar nuestra
for
tarjeta de
example, where
crédito
you
cada
have
mes,
a
esta
monthly
permita que
cutoff
el
date where
corte
you
de la
have to
tarjeta
pay
sea
every
adecuado de
month,
acuerdo al
it
periodo de
allows for its
producción de ese
cutoff
agricultor.
day to
Y voy
be
a dar un
connected to
ejemplo que
the
probablemente
production
sea
cycle.
erróneo, es decir,
Let me
desde el
give you an
desconocimiento
example.
profundo
Most
de la
likely it's
agricultura.
mistaken
Si
because I'm
la
not
producción de
related to the
arroz, el
agricultural
periodo es de
sector,
6
but just to
meses,
give you a
entonces el
number
periodo de pago de
example,
esa tarjeta de
if the
crédito será
rice
6 meses.
production is of
Entre
6
algunas
months,
otras cualidades
then the
que tiene
payment
esa
period or the
tecnología o esa
cutoff date for
solución
the
que
credit
permite
card would
también que,
be
por
6
ejemplo, el
months.
agricultor
At
solo
the
pueda
same
utilizar
time,
esa tarjeta
this
de
will allow
crédito
the
en
agriculturer
negocios
or farmer to use their credit card in
comercio en línea
businesses
que esté
only
relacionado
or
con
online
insumos que vayan hacia la
purchases
agricultura.
that
Entonces
are
creo que ese es un
connected
ejemplo muy
to the
concreto de cómo es que dentro de
farming
Visa estamos
activity.
enfocados enfocados en desarrollar
Now,
esa
this is a very
tecnología o esos
specific example
componentes,
on
esos
how
beneficios,
Visa is
para que sean
developing different
pegados a los productos
technologies,
financieros que ofrecen las
benefits
instituciones
that are
financieras, a
related
las
to the
fintechs, a los
financial
individuos, a las
solutions
comunidades,
provided by
y lograr
fintechs
así la
for
inclusión como tal
consumers, and
de
in
las
this way
comunidades o
obtain
individuos que
inclusion
tradicionalmente se han quedado
of
fuera del sistema.
communities and individuals that have been traditionally left outside of the system. Over.
Thank you very much, Alina. We have time for just one more question, and it does go back to Amparo and B89. They want to know, is there any regulation that allows you to offer your products to people who do not have any type of identification documents? As you know, in many cases, migrants do not have their complete documentation.
Sí, a ver, lo único que nos, bueno, no lo único, lo que nos pide la
Yes.
regulación
What the
es que nosotros
regulation
podamos
asks
identificar a
is that
nuestros
we can
clientes con
identify
algún
our
documento de identidad.
customers
Si no
with
tienen un
an
documento de identidad
identity
peruano,
document, of
pero sí
course.
tienen
If
carnet de
they don't
extranjería
have a
o
Peruvian
tienen
identity
pasaporte,
card,
eso
but
es
they do
algo que
have a
nosotros sí
passport
podríamos
or
permitir.
a
Entonces, personas que
card
vivan acá en Perú, nos
for
demuestran
their
que viven en Perú
migration,
y tienen
that's something
pasaporte,
that we
podrían,
may
podrían
accept. So
llegar
if
a ser
they have a
clientes de nuestro tipo
passport,
de...
and if it's
Ahorita
not
no.
from
Hoy solo
Peru,
estamos
they can have
aceptando
access to
el documento
B89.
de identidad
Right
local, el
now,
DNI, y estamos aceptando
eventually we
carnet de
will. Right
extranjería.
now, we're
Pero
only
sí, ya estamos viendo
accepting
la manera de
the
poder,
Peruvian
con el
identity
pasaporte de la
card.
persona, poder identificarlos y poder
But
pasar
yes, we are
por lo
looking
que
for
la
a way
regulación
that
nos
we can
pide, ¿no? De
identify them
tener
through their
el
passport
correcto
and
conocimiento de nuestro idioma.
identify them through the passport only. But for now, their local Peruvian ID card.
Okay, thank you, Amparo, so much. And thanks to everybody. Alina, thank you. Diana and Oscar Guzman, I want to thank as well, the Chief of Party for our Economic Inclusion Project, who helped me put this together today. Thank you all so much. Really great things that we're doing with the Economic Inclusion Project, and so many great examples of that today. Just want to say, if you like this event and you want to see others, you want others to see it, you can refer them to the World Council YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/WOCCU. This video of this presentation is going to be available later there today. We also want to give you some information that if you feel like you got a lot out of this presentation, you want to be part of more sessions like it, but in person next time, be sure to register for our 2023 World Credit Union Conference, which we will co-host with the Canadian Credit Union Association. That's going to be July 23rd to the 26th in Vancouver, Canada. We'd love to see you there. You can register for the World Credit Union Conference by going to wcuc.org. That is wcuc.org. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.